Hello, and welcome to our What's New in TalentLMS series. If you're here to discover everything included in the 6.11 release, you are exactly in the right place. Today, we'll walk through the latest product enhancements, explore how they'll make your training even more powerful, and of course, answer your questions in a live Q&A at the end. But before we dive in, let's start with some introductions. I'm Corina, customer onboarding consultant here at TalentLMS, and I will be your host today. I'm joined by my colleague Mary Logothetti from our product team, who will walk us through the new features live.
Hi, everyone. Nice to be here. And I'm very excited to show you what's new in our latest release and how these updates can make learning even more engaging and effective.
A quick note before we get started. The session is being recorded and you will receive the recording by email shortly after we wrap up. And we'll also hold the live Q&A at the end. Please type your questions in the Q&A panel anytime during the session. Now, we start with the agenda for today. We'll start with enhanced AI coach tools and a refreshed interface, which make learning more interactive and engaging. Next, we'll look at the HubSpot integration, designed to streamline your workflows and create smarter, more connected experiences. We'll then move to LinkedIn Learning integration, which gives you instant access to additional courses right inside the platform. And after that, we'll explore the new learning paths, which help guide learners through structured, certifiable, and personalized journeys. And let's start with a lighter update. You may have noticed that TalentLMS looks a little different today. And that's because we've rebranded. This isn't just a new look. It reflects our evolution as a product and as a company, and we're proud to share it with you. And I will stop sharing for a little bit to show you what new portals look like. Inside the platform, you'll notice several visual updates. The default sidebar menu features a refreshed colors, along with an update default course image, a new logo, a new fav icon, and all those things are there for new portals. As I already said, if you're already customized your portal, don't worry. Your settings will remain exactly the same. The updates are designed to make the overall experience cleaner, more modern, and better aligned with the direction TalentLMS is headed. So let's move on to our first item for today. We have been listening carefully to your feedback, and we tried to make improvements in both AI Coach and TalentCraft, two features that you have already loved and you've been using daily. If you're new to TalentLMS, AI Coach is your 24/7 tutor, an intelligent assistant, I might say, that answers questions, explains tricky concepts, and summarizes lessons on the spot. TalentCraft is our AI course creator, turning ideas, documents, or topics into ready-to-use training content in minutes. And time to see the changes. I will stop talking. Mary, the mic is yours to walk us through the updates.
Thank you, Corina. And let me share my screen. I hope you see my platform. Yes? Okay, so the first,
yes.
let's show you what we have changed in AI Coach. For this one, I have already created a course. Again, if you don't know what AI Coach is, as Corina said, is your tutor. It will help learners answer questions, give them summaries of your content so they won't have to bother you, the instructors, and the admins. And it's something that you can activate per course. By just clicking on the settings, you will find this option. So this should be activated. Now let's preview because this is for learners, right? And let's see how this looks. Coach is on the top right side. And when you click on that, what we have changed is that Coach is no longer in a drawer. Why is that? So received feedback. We know that your users would like to interact with the content while they're playing with Coach and not just use Coach, close the window, and then you read their content. So we have implemented a split screen. You see that? I can focus on Coach, I can focus on the content, and work on both at the same time. And we have implemented also a screen where you can have some default question starters, and you can ask Coach to give a summary of this unit, explain it, or you can practice questions. What's the difference? Before, there was a drop-down option. If you click to give a summary, then you had to go back and select the option to chat. Now all the questions are unified. And for example, if I click, can you explain this unit simple? And after Coach gives me an answer, I can continue on the same tab and ask another question. So here, without leaving Coach, without selecting another option, I can continue the conversation. Now, if I want to practice some questions, it's a totally different mode. And because we are different here, when we give you practice questions, we don't just give you a question with the possible answers and explain why this is the right answer. We give the opportunity to the learner to interact with the question and try and test out their knowledge. If you understood well their content on the left, they will be able to answer the questions on the right. And that's the new AI coach experience, faster, simpler, and designed to help you focus on the meaningful interactions and not the clicks in between. Now, let's switch gears to TalentCraft, where we've added several updates to make creating and editing content so much easier. So I'm going to click on this option, TalentCraft, and the option to generate with AI, because you will notice here on the bottom the new feature, voice to dictation. So now you can speak your content directly to the editor. You can just click on the mic icon, start talking, and TalentCraft will transcribe your words into text instantly. Let's try this. Create a course about product management. Save that. Awesome. Let's start creating. Now, this was a very quick prompt. I am sure that you give more details so TalentCraft can give even better results. So instead of typing everything, and this takes time, you can say it aloud, refine later, and you see already TalentCraft creating the content. And next, I would like to show you that we have added the option to change the font. So when this is done, perfect. Here you will be able to change the font and across the entire unit. So whether you want a larger text for accessibility or a more compact layout, this is where you can set the font size for your entire TalentCraft unit, so it still looks very good. We have also added better inline functionalities in the editor. So when you're highlighting a text, what we didn't have before is the option to select the color. So this is something that we kept receiving from you guys. And if I select the text, I also have the option to set the text as a numbered list or a bullet list. Now, some of you will tell me, we already had the bulleted list right here. Exactly, that was a section. But what we understood is that within the text, so you had a block with text, is where you would like to also have a bullet list. And we can do that. Now, sorry, this is just one, so you get the idea. So you can make your content cleaner and easier to organize. And last but not least, there is a new type of question that you can find here, the ordering question. Now, all you have to do is to type your question and add all the possible answers in the correct order. And then TalentCraft, when we show this question to the learners, will shuffle the possible answers. So the learners will have to drag and drop them into the correct order. We hope that these changes will make creating content in TalentCraft even easier and more flexible. Corina, I think you're muted.
I was muted. Okay, those things happen when we host live webinars. So let's move on. Mary, thank you. Of course, the improvements in TalentCraft make it easier to build great learning experiences but training is only truly powerful when it connects to the bigger business picture. And that's exactly what our new HubSpot integration does. In practice, this means you'll spend less time managing training and more time seeing its impact. And because it's aligned with your HubSpot data, training is no longer a standalone process. Now, if you are on a pro or enterprise plan and you've got API enabled, you can start using this right away. The first action you'll notice is the ability to sync users from HubSpot to TalentLMS. But that's just the start. In upcoming iterations, you will also be able to sync courses and even push users back from TalentLMS into HubSpot, making the functionality bi-directional. Now, I'm very happy for that. I have to admit it. Another big update. And one you all have been asking for. It's our new LinkedIn Learning integration. Over the past year, we have worked hard to bring you more great content. First, we grew our talent library collection, and then we added the option to connect with Open Sesame. Now, we're taking the next step. LinkedIn Learning is officially available in TalentLMS, and Mary will tell us more about this. So the floor is yours, Mary. Now you are on mute.
Of course. So I assume you can see my screen, right? Good.
Yes.
And I'm going to show you how to connect your TalentLMS account with LinkedIn Learning so you can bring their massive library of professional courses into your portal. Now, the idea is that once connected, you will be able to assign the LinkedIn Learning content that you have brought in TalentLMS directly to your learners. So you can track their progress and give them seamless access all in one place, TalentLMS. Quick heads up before we dive in, the integration is available for all Grow, Pro, and Enterprise plans. However, you will also need a business plan on LinkedIn Learning. And make sure you're using the new interface because this is where the integration setup lives in. I don't have the screen what you have to do on LinkedIn Learning, but please follow our article. You will need to do a small setup on the LinkedIn Learning admin side and basically create an LTI 1.3 connection. You will grab a few values from there, like URLs and IDs. And let's go to account settings and integrations, where you will need to paste all this information to TalentLMS. No need to worry about the LinkedIn details right now. The key part happens inside TalentLMS. You add all the information, you hit save, and then the client ID and deployment ID is generated. You can copy that, take this back to LinkedIn and save. Once the integration is active, all you have to do is to go to one of your courses. Let's use the course I opened earlier and add a LinkedIn Learning unit. Can you see also the pop-up, I hope? You see LinkedIn how it's loading? Good. Now, we have already connected. I can select a topic. I can find the course that I would like to add into my course, into TalentLMS. Click Add and confirm your action. And you will see it as a new unit in TalentLMS. Now, this is here, Managing Teams. You can reorder like any other unit. You can publish it when you're ready. And we can have a look as well. Now, all the LinkedIn Learning content opens as a pop-up, and the unit completion comes automatically by LinkedIn. It might take a few hours, we've noticed. If you are in a hurry, of course, you can manually intervene and complete manually the unit for the user. Let's hit open. Now, I'm sorry, I was doing some testing. I will need to connect with my account, the account that I have on LinkedIn. You don't see my password, don't worry. I hope I entered everything correctly. And once I do this, perfect. This is a message coming from LinkedIn. Something happened, but it's okay. I'm gonna launch the content right here. Amazing. I see the course that just integrated. I can complete that. And when LinkedIn sends back the information to TalentLMS, we will mark the unit as completed. So that's it. In just a few steps, you connect LinkedIn Learning to TalentLMS and basically unlock an entire library of world-class content for your learners without leaving your LMS.
And that's perfect. Thank you again, Mary. And now that we have seen how integrations like LinkedIn Learning open up more possibilities for learners, let's talk about how we can guide them through all that content in a structured way with learning paths. This feature brings structure and clarity to the learner journey. For learners, instead of bouncing around courses, they can now follow a clear step-by-step path. Visual progress shows them where they are, what's next, and what it all leads, and all this leads to certification once they finish. For admins now, it keeps training consistent, whether it's sales onboarding, compliance, or product training. Assigning is easier too. Just create one path instead of enrolling people in multiple courses. And reporting is smarter, showing progress towards mastery, not just single course completion. And with that, Mary, back to you.
Here we are. Now, you usually hear me in demos saying that I'm very excited about the new features, and I truly am, but this one is my new favorite feature. It's the first release of Learning Pass. It's an MVP that we will keep improving and adding more functionalities as we go. So, Learning Paths. Think of them as a playlist of courses that guide your learners through a specific skill or goal. For example, if you are onboarding a new sales representative, you might want them to complete first some product training, then teach them some sales techniques, then teach them all about your CRM tool. Now, all of these courses could be bundled together so you can create a smooth journey. You can use sections and also lead to one single certificate at the end of the journey. Give me a second, sorry. Now, learning paths are available from the Grow plan. You can create accounts, Grow accounts can create up to 5 learning paths, and Pro and Enterprise customers can create as many as you want. Of course, you will need to use again the new interface, and you will find learning paths right under courses. And let's create together our first learning path. We're adding a new learning path, and here's where we can set the name. I'm gonna say sales onboarding. And you might recognize this. You will see a lot of features that are coming from courses, of course, into learning paths. And this is the option where we could click in order to create automatically, the AI will create that, the description and an image for the path. Next step, let's add our courses. I'm going to use the example that I said before about sales onboarding. So first, I would like something about product training. I don't have to put them in the correct order, actually. Let's add the CRM course now. And a sales speeds course, I know that I have. Here we are. I just wanted 3 courses right now. I put them in any order that I want, and I can fix it here. This one should go after product training. You see all the courses are added under a specific section. You can add more sections. The idea here is to cover all of your educational needs. Sometimes a path should be divided into weeks. The first week, you have to complete these 3 courses. The next week, the other 3 courses. Or you might want to divide the courses per level. Now, maybe this is just beginner's level. Then if you complete all those courses, you can go to the more advanced level. It's all right here. You can delete sections, you can rename them, you can add courses directly to a section, or hit just this button and the course will be added to the last section you have on the screen. Sorry. In the learning path options, you see the option to activate the path. When you're ready, when you're done with your path, you can activate it and assign it to your learners. You can add a code. Similar to courses, when you add a code, we can use that to sort the courses in alphabetical order, and this time the paths as well. And you can also assign it to a specific category. You can set a limit. From the moment that the user is assigned to this path, how many days do they have to complete it? So you can set an expiration date. And this is independent from the expiration dates you have within the courses. So you might not have any expiration date within the courses, and the date just goes directly to the path. Or you can use both. Of course, you need to carefully plan everything, but you can use both. And under completion, you can set in which order the courses should be completed by your learners. Now, I understand that in most cases, and I prefer that too, we are building courses and we want to build knowledge in a specific way. So I would like to control how the courses will be completed by the learner, so it will make a lot of sense and take the best out of the training. So I'm going to use the in sequential order for now. But if you want, you can be more flexible. You can use the in any order. The goal here is to complete just all the courses of the path, but I don't care in which order. You can also set when the path will be completed, when all the courses are completed, a percentage of them or specific courses. You can make some of the courses mandatory, some optional, but still get a certificate for the path. And also set a certificate that will be issued at the end. Now, remember, this is just the first version. Right now, the duration that we have added here is only forever, but in later versions, you will see that we'll be adding more information in the options and everywhere. Let me not forget to activate the path. Hit save, and that's perfect. Now I can start assigning to my users. Now, again, for this MVP, you will need to add the users to the path. The path is not available on the catalog yet, so the learners cannot find them alone. I have here Corina, not Corina, here the moderator. I'm going to use this one.
Why not me, Mary?
I'm going to use a learner. I could add you as an administrator, though.
Okay.
You can work with me on the path.
I'm fine with that.
Now, let's test from the learner side. Would you like to see that? Now, I'm going to show you a little trick. When you click on the user under the info tab, there is an option to impersonate that user. So we're going to actually be the learner, Corina the learner. Okay, we logged in as the learner. Under my training, which is the new section, instead of my courses, since we don't have courses anymore, just courses, we also have learning paths. We renamed that to my training. You will see a path. We have tried to make it easier for you. On the view, we can see all the courses that we have, including learning paths or just courses. So this is, the learner can change that. And I see the path. You see, it looks like a pile of books. It's a bit different, also the design, and I can see on the card that this is a path that includes 3 courses. So I can tell the difference between single courses and a path, and hit start. I can see the progress, I can see the description that this path leads to certificate. I cannot click on the second, third course because I have locked how the courses will be completed, and I have to go to the first one. I complete the training, And again, in later versions, you will notice better flow between courses. We will add the option to have a button to go directly to the next course. You will see a different finish screen where you can get the certificate for the entire path, but also the certificate of the last course if these are separate. All these things are coming up. Going back to my admin side to give you some more information about the learning paths. Now that I have at least one path, you will see here the table. It's on a list view. I know that instructors were gonna love the grid view as well. So in the MVP, we've added also the option to look at the images. I know it's something that you've been requesting for courses, and we're gonna bring this in our next releases. We started with paths, where you can view them either as a list or in a grid view. I can see that there are 3 courses. In the 3-dot button here, I can delete it. I can go straight inside and edit the path. Sorry. And I can filter it and see just the active and inactive. Now, again, more things are coming up. Right now, learning paths cannot be shared across branches and groups. So that's why you only see the users tab right here. But what else we have brought with this MVP? We want this to be functional from the first day. So you will be able to use that from day one, and you will also find notifications regarding the path. So let's add notification, search with the term learning path, and you will find 3 new events on learning path assignment. So every time you add a user to a path, you can send them an email. Now, you have come with this request in the past while you were adding, for example, a user into 10 courses. You wish to not send 10 different emails because you had the course assignment notification. Now, imagine adding those 10 courses in a path. When you add the user to the path, they will get just one email. So it's much better for them as well. The X hours after learning path acquisition, where we basically show, we send an email a few hours after the user has been assigned to a path, and it works more like as a reminder. And on learning path completion, which I think is also useful for the admins and instructors, not just for the learners. And we can say when a learning path has been completed, send a message to, let's say, all the super admins. As any other notification, you can set the message here. The first line is always the subject of your message. You can find the smart tags about learning path, and the URL is right here. Set up the notification, and that's it. Next, we've added also events to automations. Automation is a great way to mainly assign one course after the other. Of course, we couldn't have learning paths outside of this game, and you will find 2 new events under automations. When a learning path has been assigned, you can assign either 1 or more courses or 1 or more learning paths. So you can automate the entire training. So you organize your courses into paths, and then you will see more and more automations, of course. You can also automate their training. The goal is to reach the same events in notifications and automations as we have today for courses. So wait for it. We're going to be adding more and more in every release. Last but not least, under reports, you will find learning path reports, dedicated section, of course. In this version, you will see a table with all the learning paths. The columns are giving you information about the code, the category, how many assigned learners there are right now in a path, and how many of them have completed the path. I'm sorry. When I click on a specific path, I can see exactly the users, which is their role under the path, their status, when they completed, how much time they have spent in the path, and any extra custom user fields you have. I can see exactly which courses are part of the path, and of course, timeline events. So I see the timeline events for that specific path, and for the last 12 minutes, You see that we have created the path, we generated images, we have added users, and all the related events. And let me show you this from the timeline here. Can also be searched from the global timeline. So we've added a lot of events to track what has happened with your learning paths. All right here. Now, we can't wait for you to try these updates. A small note before we continue with your questions. Although learning paths cannot be added to a branch, this doesn't mean that a branch admin cannot create their own learning paths. So let me show you that. I'm going to pretend I'm a branch administrator, okay? You know this feature. I'm going to switch to a branch. That's a different environment that comes with its own URL. It can have different logo, colors, and everything. I just want to show you that if you were just a branch admin or an instructor accessing only a branch, you could create your own learning paths. As you see, I don't have access to the learning paths of the main site, of course. This is a separate place and I can create my own separate learning paths. Of course, the flow is exactly the same as it happens in the main domain. It's just that here I only see courses that belong to my branch. So you can create your own learning paths for your branch users with courses that they're supposed to access. Again, in the future, we would like to be able to share paths across branches, and that would mean that also all the courses of the path will be added in the branches. But yes, we are excited to see your feedback. Please try those updates. Let us know what you think. And that's it.
Okay, Mary, you can have a great sip from your water because we have some great questions coming in. Actually, I wasn't able to really select, so I think I did a decent job. So let's start. First of all, learning path. Can section access be locked until previous sections are completed? For example, if I have 3 tiers of training for one employee group, can it be included in one path, and can certificates be awarded by section?
Now, right now, the learning path, let's open the path we created before. You will be able to create many sections. Yes, at this moment, sections do not have any relation between the others. We tried from day one to have sections so we can add this kind of rules. So we can be flexible in the future and add, for example, per section specific time expiration, per section a certificate. So this is not something that you see in the MVP. What you can do today is to add your courses, and perhaps in the last course, add a specific certificate, and then in the entire path as well. So for the moment, this is the way you can achieve that.
Next one from Joanne. It doesn't seem that the learning path can be assigned to a group. Will this be added? And a combination to that question, do you anticipate releasing another version of learning paths before Q1 of 2026?
So yes, Joanne, we are planning to have here all the tabs that you were expecting, branches, groups. So you can add also the path on a specific group. Now we have releases every 2 months. In the next release, we're gonna try to fix things that you have proposed, things that you would like to work a little bit different. We have already gathered feedback from our support team, and thank you for that. It seems that you have loved the feature before you even meet it in the webinar. So we're going to have a lot of improvements, and we're going to try to also include learning passing branches. This is our next priorities. But after that, we would like to also have learning paths on a course catalog so the learners can pick and self-register to a path and also add them to groups.
All right, perfect. Next one. If someone has already taken a course you add to a learning path, Do they have to retake it or will it show up as completed? That's a question by Amanda.
Now, we didn't want to affect whatever you have done so far. You've been working with courses all these years. We didn't want to add a feature and destroy whatever you have done. So if a learner has already completed, let's say, the CRM Mastery course, when they're assigned to the path, they will notice that this is already completed. So we won't change the progress because they were just added to this new feature. They were just added to a path. So the progress will still remain, no matter if you add them now today in a new path. I also see a
Wonder for
question.
you as well. I have another. Oh, do you want to pick one yourself? Yeah, go ahead.
There is a question from Brigitte about LinkedIn Learning. I assume that every learner will have to have the business subscription in LinkedIn. Actually, Brigitte, no. The business subscription is for companies. I've recently checked their site. They have changed a little bit the naming. The last time I checked 2 days ago, they call it the business subscription. And with this plan, you also have the ability to connect LinkedIn Learning through LTI with your LMS system. Now, how this works, I'm a company, I want to train 50 employees. Now, this number might not be real. If I'm not mistaken, they just want a little bit more, but please check with LinkedIn. And I buy a specific plan. I pay LinkedIn separately, and then I also have the ability to connect LinkedIn with my TalentLMS platform for all these 50 users. So it's a subscription that the company has to pay. The learner, they only need to do is to actually have a LinkedIn profile, but they don't need to be on a business plan themselves.
Have a related one. Can I ask it?
Yeah.
Okay, so can LinkedIn courses be part of a learning path, or does it have to be integrated in a course within TalentLMS?
Now, good question. As you understand, the hierarchy of how you organize your training has changed a little bit. You have categories, so you can divide your training into different topics. Now you have learning paths, could be like the bundle of courses. And then within learning paths, you have courses. LinkedIn content, though, is added as a unit inside a course. So, yes, definitely, since LinkedIn is a unit in a course and the course can be part of a learning path, you can make it work all together. Now, with this combination, you have to be careful on the licenses. How many users can access the LinkedIn content? What have you purchased from LinkedIn? Otherwise, you might find that some users cannot proceed with their training because they cannot launch the content because of the limit you have with LinkedIn. So you have to pay attention to that. Other than that, yeah, of course, you can make it work.
So who's picking next one?
Let's see. There's a question from Sasha. How do you differentiate between someone who has a single course and someone who has the full path? Is it if they are registered for all the courses in the path, they are registered in the path? These are the kind of questions we're trying to solve while we're implementing a learning path. Now, as you saw, a learning path, sorry, something blocked my screen, could be completed in a sequential order or in any order. Now, if you have in any order, this means that the learner can also complete the courses individually. They will be able to see product training either alone or within a path because with this setting, we don't care in which order they will complete it. But no, if I have those 3 courses, but I don't have the path, I will not see both on my screen. I will only see these 3 courses. Now, if I have the sequential order though, and you just give to your users the 3 courses by not assigning them to the path, just giving them the courses individually, they will probably get an error message saying that you need to complete them in this order. So when you have sequential order, try not to give the courses of the path directly to the users. Assign the user to the path. If you're using in any order, it won't make any change to their how they complete the courses because anyway, there's no restriction. Now, from the learner side and how it looks, let's again log in as my learner. Here, let's log in. I'm gonna go to my training. You see the path, right? Let's pick a course. I want to put them side by side. And let's go back to my training. Now, this is a course. This is a learning path of 3 courses. There is some slight difference also on how they appear on the screen. I see everything right now. And of course, with just 2 items, it's very easy to understand the difference. But if you have more courses in learning paths, maybe you want to filter. So we give all these options to the learners. And yeah, you can they can start their training.
Mary, another sip of water, please. Okay, I won't say that again. How does learning paths compare to using a combination of course prerequisites with capstone courses? An
So,
expected one.
yes. Now, for years, we had this feature, and I'm going to show you. Maybe some of you don't have this on the screen anymore. New accounts that were created after this release will not have this option. So users that have been with us for at least a month, you will be able to see in the course options the prerequisites right here. So we try to make it work without prerequisites really, be in the way of the learning path. So whenever you want to use a course, let's say this one. Now, what we have done, a prerequisite. The 5 tips course has to be completed in order to unlock the 6.11. That was the feature that we had for years. But now we're introducing the learning path. So the admin can also visually understand the connection between the courses, and this applies also to learners. If you want to use the 6.11 course in a learning path, you will get a message on the screen. Right now, it's occupied by prerequisite. Delete the relation so you can use this course in the learning path. I know there is a transition that you need to go through, especially if you're using heavily this feature, but it's going to be much more organized for you and the learners if you're using learning paths from now on.
Do you want to pick the next one, Mary? Or
Yeah, I see one from Leah. We need a learning path in due X hours notification, please. Thank you, Leah. This is the kind of feedback. Of course, everything in the chat will remain after the webinar, so we're going to view all of your questions and all of your feedback. But if you have more ideas while you're planning with learning paths and what you really need to make your training even better, please let us know. Send a message to the support team, your account manager, and we'll take this in mind.
all right. Let's move on to another one from another Mary. What happens if I'm an instructor in a learning path, but also a learner in one of its courses?
This could happen, of course. So let's imagine that my user here, Mary, is an instructor of the learning path, but she's a learner in some courses or the other way around. So as a learner, if I start a path and then some of those courses, I'm actually an instructor, I will get an error message on the screen. I will need to change my role to that course, so I will be able to complete that. And I believe this is the expected behavior from you as well. And the other way around, if I need to edit those courses, I need to change again my permissions to make sure that I can edit the courses and not just the path.
Next one. How are assignments affected by learning path? This one has been asked by Lance.
Assignments is a specific type of unit inside your courses where you can ask your user to type their answer, record a video or an audio as an answer. And actually, there is no impact because it still remains a unit inside the course. So you can add a course that has an assignment into a learning path without any issues.
Is it possible? Sorry, Danny. I'm excited with all those questions, so I'm sorry, Mary. Is it possible to clone learning paths?
Right now, no, but we do want to bring those features again. You will be noticing in our next releases more and more actions right here. And the idea of cloning learning paths is that we will clone the entire setup, description, and which courses will be included, but not clone the courses, okay? So if you want to clone a course, you need to go to the course and do this action. By cloning a learning path, you clone the entire setup. It's not available yet, but it's gonna come in our next versions.
Okay. And Anna is asking what kind of reporting is available from LinkedIn?
So it's another type of unit, LinkedIn for us. So when you go to your reports and find your courses, you will be able to see another unit that is completed, and you will also be able to see how much time it has taken to be completed.
Okay, so we consider another we would consider it as another unit type of unit, so we would find it within courses in unit matrix. Okay,
Yes.
I was one of your learners. I should have completed it. So yeah, let's hope our audience won't judge. So I think that's a wrap for our what's new in TalentLMS 6.11 webinar. And let me share my screen real quick so you can see what you can do next. So thank you so much for joining us today. We cannot wait to see how you will put all these new features to use. If you have follow-up questions, email us at productloop@talentlms.com. Please share your feedback through the link we'll drop in the chat. It only takes a minute, and we'd really appreciate it, this feedback. And special thank you to our favorite colleague, Ioannis Michalakis, who was handling and answering your questions on the chat during this webinar. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, everybody. I hope you liked it, and we're waiting for your feedback.
Great. So thanks again, everyone. See you next time, and happy training.